Hey folks, welcome to Playing in Traffic. Today's episode inside the house because of the rain. So I'm inside the laboratory. This is the headquarters. Here's Mina getting her little chewing time in on my fingers. So today's episode, we're going to, and I'm obviously using this as a backdrop because definitely I was a bigger hockey fan. I still watch the Flyers. I get a little more frustration than anything else out of it, but definitely a 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000s hockey fan. And today's episode, we are going to look at sports memorabilia, and I'll do that from time to time. And this one specifically is involving the hockey enforcers, the fighters. I'm going to show you my 10 most favorite. Should I say most favorite? The ones I secured so far. 10 of my most cherished, part of my most cherished, hockey card autographs. And the theme today is the hockey enforcers. And I'm pretty sure you've seen Probert and Domi. That was a very great series of fights. And, okay, enough said. And card number one. Today's long form video actually is going to have the added dynamic of the actual career total and penalty minutes for each one of these players. Number one card. And then I'm going to just punch it in the penalty minute numbers, but this is going from lowest to highest in career penalty minutes. On this card is the autograph of one Troy Crowder. I actually didn't have a Troy Crowder card when I saw him at the Philadelphia Spectrum. And it may have been the night he either fought Tony Horacek or Craig Berube. I remember it may have been the night he fought. I saw him the afternoon at the early practices at the Philadelphia Spectrum. But yeah, Troy Crowder, number one. Number two, Clark Gillies. This is a 1975 Topps card. So I bought that when I was a kid. And then many years later, I'm going to say as late as 1989, maybe 1990, I got his autograph doing the alumni circuit. The Spectrum used to hold alumni games between the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Flyers. And this is where this came from. Clark Gillies. The oldest card out of the 10 of them. This is a 1974 Topps card. The one and only Bob Nystrom. Man, talk about some banging scraps that he had. For me, most notably as a Flyer fan, was one with Glenn Cochran and another with Mel Bridgman. But man, this guy he was a terror. I think he was the one that knocked us out of the Stanley Cup the one year with the infamous offsides goal. But ladies and gentlemen, Bob Nystrom. Okay, another one I got with Nystrom and Gillies. Look, you imagine these three all in the alumni game, and I think Schultz played the alumni, but another one from that alumni weekend, many decades. You know what? Multiple decades ago, the one and only is a Staten Island product, Nick Fotiu. Little scribbly here, but it is none other than Basil McRae. That might be one of the more scratchier signatures, but it is him, Basil McRae. And returning again in a YouTube video for me is the same Rick Tocchet card. I think the last one was like prolific scorers, all-stars, legendary fighter. Rick Tocchet did it all. Now I think he's the coach of the Vancouver Canucks. And folks, none of these were meet and greets. These were the players taking time out of their day to actually just sign autographs. At some point, the Flyers cards were different. You could get them potentially going in and out of the games. The away teams were usually you were getting them the practice usually around 11 a.m. at the time at the Spectrum around then. Now I bought this one off of eBay. I do have a Chris Nyland autograph. that I'm going to show at another time on another video. But what a legend. Guy's got a fantastic YouTube channel. Does really, really good interviews with all of the guys that you'd expect him to be talking to. He just recently had Ben Wilson on. I think it's called the Sick Podcast now. It was called Knuckles for a while there. That was always his nickname. The one and only Chris Nyland. This is one of my most cherished autograph cards that I own. Whatever sport. There was a lot going into this card. One was, could you possibly see him actually being in town, because he was suspended a lot. There was a lot of stuff, especially that incident that happened going into Canada. So just to have been able to see him play in a game in Philly was a big deal. And, you know, rest in peace, Bob Probert. The other twist to it is that Scotty Bowman, who was the coach of the Red Wings at the time, had all the players. So he had all the players come out in a box. And I mean it, like, he just did. They would not. It wasn't that they opened the garage door where the talent would go in, like the tunnel there. I think they came out the door, and he was like, and they were in a tight box, and he put Fedorov and Yzerman in the middle so that nobody could really have that. It's very, very bizarre, like almost like, because, you know, honestly, if players back then said no, it was no, and then people would just walk. They would just walk away. They were like, okay, yeah, they're not signing autographs. So I think Probert was on the perimeter of it, and he was my number one person that I was looking for. And I think that day I even got Fedorov, and I may have got Yzerman too. It just was weird. You're like, dude, what are you doing? But just want to add that as a side note. This is card number 9, and I always thought this guy was just, you know, he was just the ultimate team player, but will forever be known for the incident with Donald Brashear. Marty McSorley. I love this card, though. This card I collected OPG. I think this is an 88 Topps card, but I collected OPG and collected a lot that year. But his resume of just, I mean, you can't ignore the incident with Brashear, but what a freak of nature is really the first phrase that comes to mind to describe Marty McSorley, because he got up close and personal with many, many players. I remember the first time he was really, that I remember seeing him, he was with Pittsburgh Penguins. I think that's who drafted him, I think. And he went with Paul Holmgren, and it was like, oh, this guy's going to be trouble. And he was a whole lot of trouble. So there you have it. This is the 9th card, Marty McSorley. No autograph on this one. Here's a player. There we go, the name. Here's a player I've never gotten an autograph from. I actually don't ever remember seeing him in person. And by the time I stopped autograph hunting, he was probably beginning his career. But the legend, Ty Domi. These cards are really, really cool. There was a whole series of cards. I think the company's name In the Game, and they had a Hockey Enforcers series. There was a lot of botched little misprints of these cards. But the game worn jersey cards. They had a lot of really nice stuff, which I'm probably going to reference from time to time on my channel. But this, you know, this is I set this one aside because it's just a cool card. So Ty Domi and Ty Domi hit all the, and I think, oh no, I don't think anything. I know on my channel I did a little story right by the penalty box at the Wells Fargo Center where the infamous incident with the fan falling into the box and having an altercation with Ty If you want to check it out, it's probably maybe I'll see if I can put it in the as a link in the description. But the one and only Ty Domi. This one's while I'm doing the video, she's busy below chewing on things she's not supposed to be chewing on. But I see her flicking at her face, and I just want to document at the end of this video that she's losing her baby teeth. When I got 2 of them upstairs as it is. And that's what that crunchy sound is. All right, so that's going to do it for this episode. I just wanted to run through my 10 of my most cherished Hockey Enforcer autographs. And I haven't, believe me, I got a bunch. And I'm going to be doing that from time to time on my channel because I really, that was one thing I really dug about hockey. I mean, I dug winning Stanley Cups. The Flyers only, that's not really a thing that's happened for them in a long time. But that whole dynamic of the just the rivalries and the scrappiness of it, good Lord, man. And then some of them battles were just absolutely unbelievable. Probert and McSorley, unbelievable. Domi and Probert, unbelievable. Rick Tocchet and Wendell Clark, unbelievable. Then we go down the rabbit holes with Clark Gillies, and the list goes on and on. But it's as I go on and I get this stuff grouped together in my new residence, I'm going to have further episodes on it. All right, folks, have a great day. Pleasant tomorrow. And I know the Flyers made a trade last night. I really don't know how big. The way I was reading it doesn't sound like that big a deal. I almost feel like the guy Frost and Farabee are going to be missed more than the guys that they got in the trade. But you can only hope that the team continues to, I don't even know if you want to say they're turning anything around. Hopefully they get better and better and better and better and better. Woo! All right, folks. Great day. Pleasant tomorrow. And I'll see you next episode.